Academic research is a highly specialized field of endeavor that requires good understanding of its working principle and philosophy. It therefore requires careful guidance, mentorship that will actually help one to easily navigate in these wonderful career paths. Today, I have a very important topic to share with you on the commonly asked questions during research defense. Are you a postgraduate student, maybe at the level of the master, or maybe you are doing your PhD work? It is important to have a clear understanding of how to effectively defend your research work, maybe at the level of the proposal writing, or maybe at the level of your final defense. Again, my name is Dr. Felix Ayodele Oyeleye, and this is Research and Statistics. And again, the topic is commonly asked questions during a research defense. A research defense is like appearing before a panel, maybe for an interview. It is important you don't go there without adequately preparing. So, without wasting time, I'm going to run you through some important things you need to bear in mind when you go for your research defense. Number one, we're going to look at the area of introduction, okay? You see, it's important you understand the purpose of research defense. The goal of the examiner is to establish your capacity, if you have been able to acquire requisite capacity in terms of carrying out a research work. And if you are familiar with the research processes, that is the goal of the examiner, okay? And it's important for you to anticipate questions in different areas of that particular study, that particular research. So we're going to be looking at these in different categories, the different categories of questions that you could be asked. Now we're going to look at the research motivation category. Now the commonly asked questions are what we have on the slide. Number one, why did you choose this topic? Why did you choose this topic? Number two, what gap in the literature does your study address? Number three, how is your research relevant or significant? You see, these are questions that want to establish your foundation in that particular study. Now, let's have another attempt at different or possible ways you could attempt this question. Number one, why did you choose this topic? Okay, you can have this prototype way of answering. I chose the topic because it aligns with my academic interests and addresses a gap. Now, it's important to understand that research topic must be arrived at after a thorough literature search. So, the examiner wants to know if you have actually done that particular task of searching literature extensively before arriving at a topic. Because the essence of research is to fill a void, is to add to the existing body of knowledge. So, you may want to say that this is an area with practical relevance and limited research, local research. You want to know, is it a novel concept? Is it a novel research? Now, the next question we look at is what gap in the literature does your study actually address? Again, research is to address gap. You don't arrive at a research topic without having conducted an extensive literature search. An examiner will want to know to what extent were you able to research literature, or is your research work born out of an extensive literature search? So we have the prototype answer. Most studies study focus on X, but few have explored Y in the context of this, and that. So my research aim to bridge that particular gap. So this could be a very easy way of answering that particular question. You want to demonstrate that you have done extensive literature search and the goal is to bridge a gap. Now the third question there is, how is your research relevant or significant? You must be able to demonstrate how important and relevant your research is. So the prototype answer here is, it contributes new data, insight, which can inform policy, practice, or even further study in the field. You see, it's important you are able to tie your research quest with what is practical benefits, okay, at the end of the day. So let's go to the second category of question you should expect when you are up for research defense. Now, this is the area of methodology. Now, the first question here is, why did you choose this research design? Okay. Second question is, how did you collect and analyze your data? And number three, what were the limitations of your methods? Number one, why did you choose the research design? Now, it's important you are familiar with what research design is and the different type of research design we have. Is it quantitative? Is it qualitative? Or is it a mixed form of research? The examiner wants to know. So let's look at the prototype answers. Okay. Number one, I use a quantitative, qualitative, or mixed method to design because it best suits the research question and allows for in-depth analysis. You see, your research design must flow with your research question. Okay, the research question talks about what you are out to achieve, the question you are out to provide answers to, and how you go about answering those questions. It will lend credence to your research work. So it's important to ensure that that research question agrees with the research design. Okay. Number two, how did you collect and analyze your data? It's important you be able to say in practical terms how you were able to collect your data. Are you doing an experimental work or maybe behavioral related research and you are using questionnaire or what have you? You must be able to say in clear terms the kind of survey you conducted even for that particular research. And number three, what are the limitations of your method? Okay, usually every research is bound to have limitation. Never say there were no limitation. You are likely going to have one limitation or the other. And you can say it this way, that limitation included sample size and potential bias in self-reported data. But I minimize this through random sampling and triangulation. You must be able to project that limitation and at the same time accompany it with how you are able to manage that or those limitations as the case may be. Okay, the next category is the result and interpretation. What are the likely questions that you could be asked in the area of result and interpretation? Number one, what do you find? What do your findings rather show? And number two, how do you interpret the results? And number three, are there alternative interpretation? Okay, now this calls to play your understanding of statistics in interpreting your data. You must have a good grasp of the patterns seen in your data and how you will make use of statistics to explain that particular finding. So let's look at some of the prototype way of responding to this. Number one, what do you find? What do your findings show? I have it this way, the findings indicate that there is a significant relationship between X and Y which support or maybe refute your hypothesis. Of course, at the beginning of every research, you are likely going to have hypothesis which you are trying to establish the validity of. So you're going to tell if that's a hypothesis is actually refuted or supported at the end of the day. Okay, you must be familiar with the variables in your data that you have. Okay, now the next one is how do you interpret the results? So I interpret the result as a prototype response as evidence. Then you give an explanation which aligns with previous study and suggestion. You see, there must be a dynamics in your way of relating what you have done, what you have, your findings with the previous studies. It shows that you are following the philosophy of research. Very, very important. Now, the next one is, are there alternative interpretation? Now, the examiner may want to know if you have an expansive mind, a mind that is trying to explore beyond what you could see in the immediate. Okay, and possible way to answer that is yes. For example, you give an explanation. There are other ways you could interpret this based on the circumstance of your research. However, based on the context and data, my interpretation is most supported. Okay, good. So we go to the next category of possible question, and that is in the area of literature and framework. Okay, research is essentially built on framework. Frameworks are like the backbone or like the theoretical backbone we build research. So we can have questions like, what are the key theories or models in your research? You must be familiar with the key theories in your field of research, be it arts, be it biomedical science, are you in medical field, or maybe you are in the field of education. There are existing theories that actually support your field of research, and you need to be familiar with them. Now, another question is, how does your work relate to existing research? Okay, there is the examiner or the examiners may want to know how you have been able to correlate between what you have done and what has been done beforehand. And then you have, can you justify your choice of framework? You won't be able to justify. That means the recommended framework for that particular line of study. You must be able to have an answer to why you chose that particular framework. So you have the prototype answers this way. I use so-so model, which provides a framework for understanding and it guided my research design. So again, you must be familiar with the various theories and models that are associated with your research. And next is, can you justify your choice of framework? I'll explain that. So it is selected because it is widely used in similar studies, okay, and effectively explain the dynamics of whatever topic that you have actually chosen. You must be able to clearly explain, justify. Justify is providing a legal argument. It's like providing legal argument to why you choose that particular concept, okay. Now, the next category we're going to look at is the conclusion and the recommendation. What are the main conclusions? Okay, what are the implications of your findings, and what are your recommendations for future research? You must be able to clearly craft a way to respond to all these questions. Now, let's look at the prototype response. What are the main conclusions? The main conclusions are, then you want to summarize maybe in one sentence or two what your findings are. You must be able to concisely say the high points of your finding at the end of your research. And then you must be able to tell us the implication. Maybe it's going to help us in policy formulation, generating new theories, or whatsoever concept. You must have a clear-cut conclusion on that. And again, what are the implications of your study? I suggest that prototype response that stakeholders should consider whatever policy you are coming with, and researchers can further explore some other area. Now, every research will leave behind a gap for other researchers to explore. So, at the end of your research, you must be able to tell us the limit of that particular research you have conducted and other opportunities, other gray area that you will actually suggest other researchers to look into. And again, what are your recommendations for future research? I think that is clearly answered to. Now, the last category is the limitation. And the challenges, again, I've said that limitations is part of life. And it's not different when it comes to the field of research. You are likely going to have limitation, but please, you must be able to craft your limitation in such a way that it does not give an impression that the credibility of your work is in doubt. Don't use limitations that makes the examiner doubt the credibility or the validity of your findings. Okay, so what example of questions will come in this from? What challenges did you encounter? Okay, how did you address research limitation? How might this affect your findings? Okay, so let's immediately see the prototype response. For the challenge now, I face challenge in data collection due to, I want to mention the constraints, maybe it's a difficult terrain, maybe the people are not responsive, there's attrition rates in your work, but immediately you must quickly cap it with how you manage to surmount that particular challenge. Okay, another one is, how are you able to address that limitation? And that is exactly what we have just explained. And again, how might this affect your finding? Okay, why? Again, this is another very tricky and very important question for every research defense scenario. Okay, you must be able to tell us, okay, that's why there are limitations. It does not significantly affect even the findings of your research. So in the prototype response here, they will limit generalizability, but not the internal validity or relevance of the results within the study context. So it requires careful and smart way of response. Now, as we conclude, we look at reflection and contribution. Every examiner wants to know if you have actually learned something in the course of that particular research, because the real essence of research, be it for the purpose of earning a degree, is to increase in knowledge while you're also increasing the body of knowledge. Okay, so we have prototype questions like, what have you learned? You must be able to say in a concise term what you have learned in the course of that research. Number two, what is your unique contribution? And would you do anything differently? It's important that you be able to say in a clear term if you do anything differently. So let's look at the prototype response here. Number one, in the area of what you have learned, I've learned how to design and execute a full research project. I have developed critical thinking and analytical skill. You must be able to tell us at the end of the day what you have been able to learn. Okay, and again, what is your unique contribution? What has your research finding contributed to the body of knowledge? Okay, the prototype response, my study provides original data, maybe on a particular topic or in a particular context, and it offers new perspective, or it provides a baseline information for establishing this or discussing the other one. Okay, now another possible question is, would you do anything differently? Okay, at this point, you want to give indication of what of a mind that is willing to explore. An examiner will want to know how research minded you are. Every researcher is curious, and curiosity must be a continuum. Okay, when it comes to research, there's no limit to the end to research endeavor. Okay, so we have the prototype response. I will consider expanding the sample size or using additional tool for data triangulation to strengthen the results. So these are the different ways we could look at all those category of questions. So on the final note, it's important when you present, when you have to present your research, maybe during proposal, final defense, you stay calm and confident. Your preparation matters a lot. Your full grasp of the subject matter is important. You must know your research thoroughly, the subject matter. It does not matter if the people seated there as examiner are experts. At least whatever you know, you must be able to defend what you know. You must be able to demonstrate that you actually undertook that particular study. And you must be able to respond professionally to feedbacks. There are times questions will be asked and you may not be able to provide answers. Sometimes you may say, well, that information is delimited. Thank you for that contribution. And that will suffice for that. And you can even say, we are going to further review or have a further review on that particular aspect. And again, you must be able to warmly and politely thank them, even for their feedback. It is a very, very important. So you can appreciate that research can be a wonderful journey if you have the right information and the right guidance. And that is exactly what we do on research and statistics. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like, share, and comment on it so that the next video I produce, you will be among the first to get the update. Thanks once again. My name is Dr. Felix Ayodele. I'll see you in my next video.